Jody was really excited about improv. You know, after the first couple of takes, we would try to get the scene, and then he would be like, come in really excited, you know, to try different things that would eventually end up on the movie.
I come from a film background rather than like a comedy background. So I think maybe the way that I tend to do improv is a little bit different than most. Where like we'll do the scene and we'll improv jokes and stuff, but we also do like kind of emotional improv where like, okay, this time you're going to be super insecure during the whole thing. You're going to be hurt the whole time. This time you're going to do it completely cocky. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then you'll improv lines off of these kind of emotions, and you know, that's kind of why I feel like some of the scenes, you know, you get these different kind of almost melodramatic kind of qualities to them. You know,
I've been lucky that a lot of the guys that I've worked with, you know, do embrace this sort of kind of work method, but. You know, that's the thing, like what Jody's saying, where he kind of encourages improv from like emotional place. I mean, you know, to me, that's the most interesting when you're not just going on runs for jokes. It's like taking a new approach to get to the meat of the scene. You know, it definitely is. I mean, that feels like you're making the movie when you're doing that, when you find like something new. And, you know, with Jody's reality background, I think another thing that honestly that Jody learned from that is he doesn't. You know, in the editing room, he like understands everything he got. Like he doesn't like improvs don't like slip through the cracks like Jody has. And I think it is like going through all that footage of people talking about, you know, their confessions and
He's gonna win the challenge.
He just always knows what he has. I mean, like, you know, when I would see him cut different takes together, it's like he doesn't let anything slip through the cracks. He logs all that stuff in his head, and you know, so you're not just throwing out these improvs for them just to, you know, never make it to the scene.
I think also on sort of with Jody as well, you gave us a lot of lines, like right on the spot. Like
really?
Yeah, he would say there was one of my favorite lines which actually didn't make it in the movie. I don't know why, but no. But when we're on our date and my character's taking shots and you told me like in the middle of the scene you were like you told me this line to say, which I loved, which was like, Brandi starts talking about herself, of course, and she's like, you know, my biggest problem is that I am too generous. Oh, yeah. I just give and give and give. That's all I do. I just give so much of myself. And you like kept feeding me all these lines, sort of. I think it's because you knew her and you dated her, loved her. But that was great too because and then that sort of led to sort of some of my own improv, but it was great to have someone sort of leading the reins a little bit, so it gave you a great direction to go in.
Half the movie of my performance that I saw, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I swear,
really?
I don't even remember doing it like that thing. I was like, when did I do that thing? I have no idea. But that was one of them. Like, hey man, just give me a bunch of like reactions to like, you know, like going like ooh, like burn, and, you know, that kind of thing. And somewhere in there was a.
But like Jody was saying, it was generally, you know, a lot more emotional based in the improv. It was less, you know, talk about, you know, your dick, more talk about how you feel about your dick. That's how. This was a real breakthrough for you.
Exactly, it was a real breakthrough for me. Seth, like, we talked about this too, where, you know, Seth's done these characters that like a lot of people know him for, and it was the type of thing where we both kind of talked about just shattering all of that, you know, for just in this movie, just trying something different, and you know, I personally love the character with Saul in Pineapple Express. Like, I mean, like, you know, that's amazing. And then we're like, all right, we've done that. Let's do something else. And
because you're a really expressive actor, Seth, and you don't do that a lot.
I consider this almost more like, you know, in Freaks and Geeks, he's playing this kind of like understated, almost sad, kind of awkward teenager, and like, you know, now we have him playing kind of an angry, awkward man. And like, I mean, I think Seth has like a lot of layers that most people probably haven't seen as a like don't realize. You know?
I think the kind of the big difference in the character for me was that it's kind of just an awkward guy. You know, I think generally my characters are very self-aware and kind of in control of their situation. And if something awkward happens, they would be the person to have the wherewithal to comment on it and kind of diffuse the situation. And this guy's literally the exact opposite. He's the guy who creates the awkwardness, and it's left to someone else to diffuse it because he's not even aware enough to know that it's an awkward situation. And it was just kind of a different style joke, I guess. But the way we approached obtaining that joke was pretty similar.
The performance comes from, because he's really a guy who never, unlike your other characters, he almost never uses his hands. His hands are stuck by his side like he doesn't know what to do with them.
Yeah, it was, it's little things like that just kind of happen. It's I don't put much thought into it. The wardrobe is very helpful to me. As soon as I put on the costume, I feel like that almost tells me how the physicality of the character should be, and that was this very uncomfortable, kind of rigid polyester shirt, and literally moving hurt my neck, so because it was kind of chafed on my neck, so I literally just try not to move that much.
Well, that's where that came from?
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of where it started, and then you take little cues like that and kind of incorporate them into the character, but yeah, it was little things like that kind of I don't think that much. It's more I look for what circumstances I put in and see if I could steal any of those things to make myself appear to be a good actor.